Wuwa, a Giga Shanghai drone pilot, recently claimed that Tesla is now producing 1,000 Model Ys per day. After a 4-day overhaul, the Shanghai Model Y factory moved into Phase 2 production. Now keep in mind that these are just rumors, and they almost sound too good to be true, but we wanted to go over the possibility where it can be true, and if it is, what it would mean for Tesla and its customers, because we believe this would be enormous, and we thought it's sensible to do so before it was confirmed. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome you to another exciting video from eMotion. And in this video today, we take a deeper look at the latest possibility of Tesla Gigafactory Shanghai is practically overflowing with Model 3 and Model Y. But before we do, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us. That said, now let's begin. To give you a sense of scale, the Model 3 factory has only produced about 25,000 units in its best months, or about 800 units per day. We're talking about 25% more Model Ys than Model 3s in a factory with a supposedly 20% lower capacity than the Model 3. Shanghai Model Y production was around 14,000 units in July, which is more than double the previous month's output, so it does mean a little far-fetched, and perhaps we shouldn't get our hopes up too high. However, as you may recall, we were told that rear die casting alone eliminated 300 robots from the manufacturing process, which is insane. As a result, the Model Y factory requires less space to produce the same number of units as the Model 3. In other words, the Model 3 Shanghai factory initially had a capacity of 250,000 units per year, while the Model Y factory had a capacity of 200,000 units, and the 1,000 Model Ys is 25% more output than 800 Model 3s, despite having 20% less capacity. Is this a sign of how much more efficient Model Y manufacturing is than Model 3? In case you're curious, the Model Y produces 56% more output per alleged capacity, or possibly floor space, than the Model 3. Sure, you're employing gigapresses for some of this. Consider how far the new Berlin and Texas factories will have progressed with front and rear die casts, as well as when they reach 4680 structural battery packs. That, we believe, will significantly reduce floor space once more. Berlin's revolutionary new paint process is also featured, and anything else that we aren't aware of at the moment. These new factories are massive, but if Tesla can increase their output per square foot by that much, then size isn't everything. Due to its multi-story nature, I'm beginning to believe Berlin should have a capacity of 2 million people, while Texas should be closer to 4 million. If that's the case, that's 7 times Tesla's current capacity, although the cars that come out of these new factories will have much higher profit margins. These aren't my actual projections, we just like to imagine what might be possible on a more optimistic level, mostly because we find it fascinating. But even if I'm half right, we'll still have 4 times capacity, and even if Tesla doesn't reach that level until 2025, the stock price will have more than tripled, and this is just their auto business. I'd be satisfied even if we tripled our Tesla investment by 2025. It's just that there are signs that Tesla might be able to accomplish a lot more than that. The stock price tripling isn't meant to be a worst-case scenario, it's just one of many possibilities. We guess the point I'm trying to make is that there is a good chance Tesla's stock price will have more than doubled by 2025, and we doubt many of you will disagree. Even if that were the only thing we were expecting, it would be reason enough to keep your stock. But it's also exciting to see what else this company has to offer. In any case, if Model Y Shanghai is at this level of production, it'll likely boost my year-end delivery estimates from around 900,000 to over 950,000. However, is it possible to ramp up so quickly? To begin with, Phase 2 has been completed in Shanghai, and its implementation could have increased production. Reportedly, there was even a 4-day factory shutdown in the process of transitioning processes. Furthermore, Tesla has recently launched the Model Y standard range in China. They were also able to launch them using CAT-L's LFP batteries while still achieving a sufficient range. We believe that these are not only far more abundant batteries available to Tesla than sourcing more LG Energy 2170 batteries, but they're also significantly cheaper due to the use of iron cathodes rather than nickel and cobalt. Not only that, but the standard range is only rear-wheel drive rather than four-wheel drive, which would necessitate fewer components, such as fewer drivetrains, which we heard was also causing shortages and limiting production. If you're interested in other fascinating things about Tesla, then make sure to check out our video on Tesla phone Model Pi works on Mars and will destroy the industry. You can go check this out after the video. The fact that these are made in China models with LFP batteries means that profit margins will be even better. I'm not sure if Fremont will have the same advantage. We believe it will only apply to the Model Y in Shanghai for the reasons stated. So with fewer components required, fewer battery constraints, and Phase 2 in place, Tesla should be able to ramp up Model Y production even more. However, 1,000 per day is a lot, especially when compared to the previous month. My prediction was that the Model Y factory would produce 250,000 units per year by the end of 2021, but 1,000 units per day means we're already at 360,000 units per year after only half a year. Of course, this doesn't account for downtime, but it's sufficient for illustrative purposes. What if this means Tesla will reach capacity in Berlin next year as well? We're curious how much Tesla is sandbagging, and it's simple to plug different numbers into any Tesla forecast and come up with huge profits. In addition, the stock prices are out of control. But realistically, if Tesla's stock price doubles by 2025, we'll all be doing pretty well. We've said in the past that we leaped out but then went out and bought more leaps. We often think I'm done with my Tesla investments, but then Tesla announces more mind-blowing developments, and the stock price drops, and we can't stop ourselves. But if this is true, we believe Michael Corleone's quote from The Godfather, quote, "Just when we thought we were out, they pull me back in," is apt. Even if Tesla isn't producing 1,000 Model Y units per day, we believe it's still promising. It appears that they aren't far off from 500 a day as it is. So even if this estimate is off by a few hundred and it's more like 800 a day, that's still nearly 25,000 a month or 300,000 a year, which is perhaps more believable given that it's on par with what the Model 3 achieves without any Giga presses. And that's still a very good level of output, much higher than we had predicted for them by the end of the year. Perhaps there will be more ramping up to come. Anyway, we just wanted to see how significant it would be for Tesla if it turned out to be true. But as we previously stated, it feels a little too good to be true. However, if it turns out to be true, we can at least plan for it because we're aware of the potential impact. To be honest, I've said I'm done with options trading and only trade leaps these days, but if it turns out to be true or more evidence surfaces, we might have to revert to some of my old habits and buy some options only a couple of months out instead. Because it's such a big deal, I'm speaking with some of the most reliable sources we have in this area to see what we can learn from them as well. This, we believe, may give the term investigating a new meaning. And because it's such an important factor, I'll keep looking into it and report back if we find anything more concrete. And while this may be a stretch, Elon just tweeted that Tesla China rocks in response to a tweet about how the Shanghai Model Y has begun mass production. I'm not one to simply speculate on every rumor that surfaces, but this one has some merit in some areas, and if true, the implications for Tesla could be game-changing. So we thought it was at the very least worth investigating. We're talking about a capacity increase from 200,000 to 360,000, or nearly twice as much. And who knows if Tesla is even close to finishing up that factory. In addition, we'll look into some of the reasons why this could be the case, as well as why there was such a large jump from the previous month. For the time being, it appears that Shanghai's factories will be the primary export hub. Due to the right-hand drive availability, we are now also exporting to Singapore. The United States is most likely using the production here for domestic demand, as there is plenty of it and even more when a tax credit is implemented. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel Emotion for more exciting content and the latest news. See you at the next one.